competed in yesterday's primary and did quite well. I think I heard somewhere that maybe they think the differential between you and the second place is about 26 votes. Is that still the case?
That is still the case, as far as I know. When 100% had reported, 26 votes separated the first and the second.
So how are you feeling about that right now?
I'm excited. I'm looking forward to the future, and we're not going to sit around and wait for a week. We're on board to start looking at how we're going to defeat Tom Reed. So we're looking forward to having this behind us, certainly, but we want everybody's vote to be counted, and we're looking forward to that as well.
All right. So if you don't mind, like I said, let's get into a little bit of this background stuff, and then we'll come back around to
Sure.
where things stand today. A little bit of your bio, if you don't mind.
I spent over 30 years of my life serving as a public servant, so I don't consider myself really a politician. I'm not slick, I'm not showy, and I feel uncomfortable about bragging about background. But I do have a broad life experience, both as a commander in the Air Force Active Guard Reserve Civil Service, 30+ years. I was a wing commander in Schenectady, so we had 1,260 airmen and women, a $93 million annual budget, and about 14 C-130s, and we flew all over the world. And I did that for 6 years, 9 months. So that's military, but I've done it over the course of my life. Part of the time I was also a practicing attorney at the same time I was flying for the Air Force Reserve at that time. And it's really one of those things where I took an oath when I was 17 to support and defend the Constitution against all enemies, foreign and domestic. And quite frankly, special interests, I think, are a domestic threat to the Constitution, and I feel obligated to run based on that alone. But there are so many issues that are so important to the country and our families. I'm also a former attorney, a litigator, a defense attorney, and I own my own practice, and I worked for Lockheed Martin in business development for over 5 years. And mid-career Air Force, I was a Brookings Fellow for Senator Carl Levin. So I worked for his personal staff for a year, and I also worked for the Secretary and Chief of Staff of the Air Force in Air Force Senate Liaison. So I've had experience in Congress. I think that kind of puts me in a different group, because I'm the only one that has actually worked real issues on both sides of the aisle, both in the House and the Senate. And that's one of the reasons why I know I can do this job, but I need the confidence and the support and the vote of the people of this district to allow me to make changes that are really needed. And also, I would say I'm the only veteran in the group, and I think that's something that allows me to connect with people regardless of their political party. And I think, quite frankly, we're too polarized as a nation, and I think we need to make every effort to engage with people, not on a level of calling names and walking out of the room, but actually treating each other with respect and looking for the long view to make sure that the people's work is done and that we can do what needs to be done to move this country forward. And that's really the motivation for what I'm doing.
Was Lockheed Martin what brought you to this community? And so have you lived here 5 years or longer? How long have you been in Owego?
Well, actually, I've been in Owego. It will be almost pretty close to 10 years once I get to the general. Actually, it'll be a little more. 2008 is when I came. So, but I've had, chances to move, but I don't want to move. This is my home. Our home, I should say, Nancy and my home. And also, I was recruited by the New York Air National Guard to be a wing commander in Schenectady in '99. So I spent 9.5 years there. But Nancy and I have moved with our family 10 times. But this is where we live, and we're very proud and excited about helping move this district forward.
And then just a couple other quick things before we move on. In terms of your military career, was it always with the reserves, or did you go into the reserves after being in the regular Air Force?
Active. I was active first. I went to the Air Force Academy, then I went to pilot training, and I was a pilot for 6.5 years before I left the active service. Went to law school, and then after law school, I started with the reserves, and I was flying airplanes that were almost as old as I was. A models, and then they got newer ones. But we did that 6.5 years as a traditional, they call it, where I have a full-time job as an attorney. And then the first Gulf War came, and I just said, they need me, I have to go. So I went for the next 18 years in the reserves, then guard, active, you know, so I did a variety of things. I was in Afghanistan for 7 months as a senior airfield authority at a base of NATO, 10,000 troops, and I was a senior U.S. Air Force officer there, working with people from 13 different countries. So I have that experience, and I think team building, leadership, all those things can serve this district well if they choose to send me, and I'd be honored to be sent.
So what are the most important issues in your mind in terms of what you would want to take on if you are ultimately elected in November?
Well, certainly expanding economic opportunity for our kids so they don't have to move away is a primary objective. That's not the only thing, though. I think people are ready to have Medicare for all. Right now, people are they're uncertain about the future. They're afraid to retire. They don't want to move to another job that doesn't have any benefits because their kids need them. We can absolutely do better by taking the special interests out of this process and going to a Medicare for all, for example, which has like 3% administrative overhead as opposed to commercial insurance, which is about every third dollar of premium goes to the guy that you talk to on the phone that says, oh, that's not covered. And I quite frankly don't think that's a service the American people want to be paying for.
So tell me, if you don't mind, a little bit about what last night was like for you.
It was exciting. I would say that for sure. It started out real early in the day. We left here shortly after 7 and started talking to people at diners across the district. And because we can't start knocking on doors until 10 o'clock. But we started doing that, and then we went on for the next 9.5 hours, and we didn't stop until about 8:30 last night. And pretty much every day has been that way. And we've been taking it across the district in that bus with all the stickers on it. And that has been really a wonderful vehicle, no pun intended, to get people to talk and to listen, to find out what they're most concerned about. And quite frankly, I've had people share stories with me about how they're suffering, and it ranges across the board. But it is a reflection of the incredible responsibility that I feel, and I don't intend to let them down. It's a very important thing, and it is service, and that's what my dad always said. You know, service is what gives life purpose. And that's why I'm running, and I'm looking forward to doing my best for the people in this district.
Now, I take it you've been in touch with some of the county boards of election to find out what their schedule is for opening absentees and affidavit ballots. What's your sense? Do you have a sense as to when this whole thing may be resolved?
Well, you know, I'm not the expert in the law, but I do know with respect to this. I mean, the election committee people are really the folks that know it all, hopefully. But they have said, you know, within a week, then and here's the reason I think they want to make sure that military people that have voted get their votes counted, but not after other absentee ballots that are in hand have been counted, so that they can't identify who voted which way, and that makes perfect sense. So this will take about a week, and you know, they want to make sure the process is done absolutely correctly, all the I's dotted and T's crossed, and I fully look forward to the people having their votes counted appropriately, and we look forward to beating Tom Reed in November.
So if you do prevail ultimately in this primary, what do you attribute that victory to?
I honestly believe that people are ready to have someone who is concerned about them, because I'll give you an example. I got a packet about 3/8 of an inch thick from someone as I was going around the district, and she said, I know you're too busy now, but when you get time, could you take a look at this? And anybody who knows me, I didn't wait until, so I did it last night. And she had called Tom Reed's office, and because she's a Democrat, and I suspect it's because he knew that, he didn't even respond. And that's not right. I guarantee everyone out there that if you trust me enough with your vote and you send me to Congress, whether you are a Republican, an independent, or unaffiliated, or a Democrat, I will do my absolute best to serve each and every one of you, because that's my job if you trust me with it. And I'm looking forward to doing that for the American people and certainly the district. So.
I'm good. Is there anything else you'd like to add? I didn't think to ask.
Well, absolutely. I would like to thank all the people who work so hard. You know, as you go through this process and you have people, and some of them are, you know, they're just out of college, or they're folks who have been retired for a while, and they just really want the best for this nation and this district, and they're willing to work hard. And I'm very gratified by that, but incredibly humbled. And it's just such a wonderful thing to see people that believe in a future that's brighter than today. And I know that we can bring it home together in November. So I'm really grateful for them.